I was walking with two friends, Bob and Jennifer, not their real names, in the middle of the night, in the side streets of West Croydon, Adelaide, about 27 years ago. We had just passed through an intersection when Bob stopped and called us back to look at something down the street we had just crossed. I was fat and lazy and couldn't be bothered, but Jennifer went to look, and when she saw it she demanded that I come and look too. Bob said it was a UFO. It definitely looked weird, but not so weird that alien spaceship seemed like a plausible explanation, so I said no. It looked kinda like a set of floodlights on top of a tall building. They were all lined up in an L shape over the building, but at a skewed angle, so it seemed like they might be attached to light poles on top of the walls, to shine down on the roof, which was flat. They were very bright, but I persuaded myself that they weren't impossibility bright, because the street lights were dim and there was no other source of light. My eyes were adjusted to the dark. They also appeared to be a little too high to be attached to the building, but they were quite a long way away, so it was difficult to tell. We stood there arguing about it for ages. Me and Jennifer agreed that they were just floodlights, but Bob insisted they were not and he gradually won her over. They really did look too high, and too bright, but I refused to accept a spooky explanation and floodlights were the most plausible thing I could think of, so I stuck to my guns. Bob said they were moving, and it really seemed like they were, but so slowly that it was almost imperceptible. Suggestion can be powerful and I didn't want to be fooled, so I denied it, and we continued to argue. It really felt like a long time had passed. I noticed that we were all standing in the middle of the road, at an intersection, and we were so wrapped up in the experience that we probably wouldn't have noticed if a car was coming. I mentioned this to my friends, but they didn't seem to care. I remember feeling annoyed because Jennifer was taking Bob's side, and completely ignoring me, but I dismissed the thought and went back to focusing on the lights. It was like watching grass grow and I was getting tired of standing there, but the closer I looked the more it seemed like there really was something wrong with the lights. I was still arguing that they were attached to the building when I realized that they weren't even over the building anymore.